So got the blood work done. A few days later, went to the doctor's office to go get the results. And again, I'll never forget this story. Went to the doctor's office. My father and I are sitting there. The doctor walks out, has a folder in his hand with my results, looks at the folder, opens the folder, looks at my results, closes the folder, throws it on the counter, and he says, looks up right at my father and I and says, "It doesn't matter what these results say. Your son will be dead by the time he's 40 if he doesn't change his ways anyways."
Whoa.
And that's it.
Guess what, guys?
We're not doctors.
No, we are not.
If you're going to be making any major medical decisions, please consult your doctor.
That includes diets, exercise, medications, and surgery.
We love you guys.
And we want you to continue to be in our OSLP family forever.
So be careful and consult your doctors. We all need our vitamins after surgery, regardless of what you think.
Yes.
It's a must.
Yes. So why not choose the easiest and the best tasting in the community?
Seriously, it's ProCare, guys. ProCare
Duh.
is so delicious. I use their chewable for over a year. That's how I know.
Yes. And I love their capsules.
Yes.
Love them. They're
Yes.
once a day. I take them at night. Easy peasy. And my labs are fantastic.
Yeah, our labs are great. And I've actually switched to the capsules and I take those at night now. So
Yes.
if you guys need your iron, they have them with iron and they have them iron free. They even have calcium chews.
Yes. The calcium chews. Perfect. They have mocktail ones, chocolate. They have also some caramel and a cinnamon roll.
They're freaking delicious. So go over to procarenow.com and use our code OSLP to save some money.
Prepping and measuring your food post-op is a beast all in itself. But Portion Perfection has actually made it super, super simple. They have bowls, plates, and even a lunch bag called the Kitten Carry where you can have all of the system ready to go.
Yeah, we love carrying that thing around with us. It's so much easier to pack your lunch, your snacks, especially when you're on a road trip. That thing is a lifesaver.
Yes.
So if you want to get these things to help your journey, just go over to portionperfection.com and use our code 15OSL pod. And again, that's 15OSL pod. And you can also go over to our Amazon storefront to pick out any of those that you would like to use.
All know how difficult post-op life can be.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking hard, guys.
Yes. And so a way to make it a little bit easier is by joining the Tribe membership program. It has been created by a registered dietitian. She's actually the sleeve dietitian on Instagram. Her name is Jamie. And she's created this whole membership program just to support us.
Yeah, like we've had her on the podcast. We love her to freaking death. And then two, like she has full experts in their field that help you. And they've had bariatric surgery, almost every one of them.
Yes.
And the sleep dietitian is freaking smart because she has almost a support group every single day, guys.
Yes.
You're going to get an email. It's going to tell you which ones are for today. And you can just sign up and hang out with people that are just like you. And I've even used the journal prompts. I'm into journaling, and that was way helpful to just go somewhere that can help you and just get your mind going.
Yes.
So if you need this kind of support, which a lot of us do, go to her website and use our code OSLP at checkout to get your discount.
Welcome back, OSLP family.
Welcome, welcome.
You are listening to our Sleeve Life podcast, and this is Kelly.
This is Mel.
And you guys, once again, I am sick. So if I sound a little funny, that is the reason.
Story of your life.
Story of my life.
Yes,
I feel like I'm always sick. So we want to talk a little bit about
the Just
award
Be
show.
You.
Award show? Award show?
Did you say award shoe?
Yeah, I did.
Are we giving away shoes?
I mean, it could be a part of it.
I mean, I guess shoe companies.
I love
listen up.
shoes, so there's
shoes.
that. I didn't realize that I was a big shoe fanatic until I moved this last time, and all my shoes don't fit in a normal closet. And then I realized, I like shoes a lot,
just as much as your purses.
Yeah, pretty
cool.
much. So added benefit for everybody that wanted to know about my shoe habits. But
ridiculous.
The JBY is happening in September, on September 30th in Washington, D.C. We're so excited. I'm so
at the Howard Theater.
Yes.
Which we were so impressed with.
Yes.
Like bunch of people have gone through there. Some of my inspirations have gone through there. I can't believe it.
Aretha Franklin has been there.
Yeah.
Like, so we are going to be up on that stage.
I may or may not have gotten in trouble for already going on stage.
Yeah, she did, because they were setting up and they said, don't go on stage. And then what does Mel do? Goes on stage, you know, the one rule they give us.
I wasn't in earshot. So.
Well, I did ask them. I was like, okay, what are the rules? What can we not do? And she goes, as long as you are not spray painting the wall, I don't give a fuck what you do. And I was like, you are our place. Okay, we're going to do this. So we are going to be doing that in September, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's September 30th, guys. You want to go to jbyawards.com and you want to pick your ticket ones, because we actually have different types of tickets that you can buy.
We do.
Because one of them is the premier balcony seating.
And you want that one.
You want that one because you get table service.
Yes.
During the whole show.
Yeah.
You don't have to get up, don't have to move.
There's a QR code.
Yep,
you scan it with your
bar
phone.
upstairs with waitresses, waiters to come to you.
Yes. The only thing about the booths, though, is you have to buy them in groups of 4 or 6.
Correct.
Because they are assigned seating, I guess.
Yeah, it's assigned seating. It's group seating.
So get your bariatric group together. Get one of those tables, because you will definitely want those. There are booths downstairs that do not have table service. So keep that in mind when you're reading what comes with each level.
Yes. And know that all levels. So this is what's cool and new about this year. So not only are you going to get, our lovely faces and celebration of everything and awards, you're also going to get food, liquor, dance floor. You're going to get a DJ, and you're going to get a photo booth.
Yes.
So we got it. You don't have to worry about it. We got all your feedback. We listened.
Yes.
And now you have a level up.
Yes. So now after the show, the Howard team will remove all the seats, and then we get to go back in and dance on the dance floor, have a DJ party,
right. Shake our little
it's going to be
off.
Catered. So we are going to have food for everybody as a late night snack, and we do not have to leave the building until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So this is a huge party. You do not want to miss it. You want to go get your ticket, like Mel said, at jbyawards.com.
Yeah.
And the whole weekend is going to be a celebration.
It's jam packed. We got some free things you can do. So like on Thursday, when you come into DC, we're going to be at the Eaton Hotel doing a live podcast from the hotel for free. Anybody can come hang out, because the Eaton Hotel is fucking awesome.
Yeah. And they have a library. So that's where everybody's going to hang out, and they're going to pump our lovely voices into the library. So you don't miss anything.
They literally have a recording studio. When we walked up, there was a recording studio. I was like, oh my God, it's my jam.
This is our hotel. We're taking this.
Sold.
So there is a lot of fun. We have more fun things planned that we will kind of release a little bit later on. But just know you want to be in DC for that weekend.
Yeah. And we really want you to become one of our patrons. So
our benchies.
Because patrons they get special perks. And anybody that's $7 tier or higher gets the best perks. And those are our benchies.
Yes.
Because on Sunday after the show, you're going to get a free brunch. We call it the Benchy brunch. And it's on the rooftop of Eaton.
Yes.
So, but you can't go unless you are a Benchy.
Yeah.
So go to patreon.com/OSLP, sign up now, and then you get all the perks that come with it.
Plus, there is a discount code for your tickets if you are a Benchy.
Oh, yeah. So, we treat our Benchies well.
We do. Yeah. We do. We appreciate them so much. So we are going to, lots of fun for that weekend.
Yeah.
If you want to be a Benchy, make sure to go over to patreon.com/OSLP and sign up for the $7 higher tier. You get the discount code, you get the Benchy brunch. Plus, you get a support group that is like amazing.
We have over 200 people in that support group, and there's men, women. The age ranges are like 20 to like 60. Like we got it. So come hang out with us.
Whatever you need, we've got it.
Oh, and I forgot to say we have live streaming this year.
Yeah. So if you can't make it in person, don't worry. We're going to live stream it, and it's going to be through our website, jbyawards.com.
Yep.
And through YouTube. So you want to make sure that you're clicking that bell and that subscribe button so you get notified when videos like this one drops.
Yeah, because you get one every Tuesday. You are a week behind from our patrons of course, because patrons get everything first.
Yes.
But we do have an episode that drops every Tuesday, and we have lots of fun things that go on over there. So like she said, go to YouTube. It's already on your phone.
Preloaded.
Plug us in. hit subscribe, hit the bell, and you're going to get all the perks. Because then you would know we have a guest today.
Yes.
He's already here waiting very patiently to hang out with
Yes.
us. So we would like to introduce him.
Yes. If you are, this is what happens when I'm sick. My brain goes like 5 different directions at once. Thank you so much for being on the show. Can you tell us how to pronounce your name? Because I want to make sure everybody has it right.
Yeah, sure. It's Raheel Siddiqui.
Okay. I was going to say Raheel and I just didn't. I don't like to butcher it. So now everybody knows.
I mean, I can't say spaghetti sometimes, right? So
You cannot, or library.
yeah, Saul, drawl.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem for her. So, well, thank you so much for being on. We cannot wait to hear your story. Where did your weight problem kind of start?
Sure. So thank you guys for having me. Very excited to be here. So first off, wanted to say thank you guys so much. So yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, pretty much my entire life. So I've been obese, overweight my entire life since birth. I was an overweight baby and up until elementary school, middle school, high school, college, post-college. And, the weight just kept piling on. I think the ignorance of, myself personally, I think I was just eating away. And I think when you're young and in that space, especially when you're getting into, early teenage years, early 20s, college, I think you have this complex of, oh, okay, well, I'm young. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody thinks about the long-term complications of it, right? About your health, especially too, at least for me personally.
Yeah.
So I just didn't really think of it as a big deal. I was like, okay, I'm just a really big, overweight, funny guy that everybody has for their laughs. And I have a big personality. I'm a big guy. I played high school football. So anytime I would link up with friends and family members, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I was just kind of like, I mean, literally the elephant in the room, I was the fat, loud, white guy, that would come on in there and make everybody laugh. And then I think, a lot of it just started to change when over time, I wasn't the guy that they were laughing with. I was the guy that they were laughing at. And I think those little subliminal messages were trying to creep up in my brain, but I felt like it was in one ear and out the other. And, I kind of was just kind of taking it for face value. I was like, okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. I mean, like I am overweight and I am loud and I am, that guy, that friend, that family member that they have around to tell those jokes, because that's kind of like the stigma, especially growing up, right? A lot of the, especially I'm an 82 baby, but 90s baby as a kid growing up. So you see a lot of famous celebrities, they were overweight, funny guys, right? Like the John Candys, like the, Chris Farley's, like the Kevin Jameses. I mean, they brought laughter to the screen. So that was kind of like the bucket, that pool I was kind of put in. But I think over time, what really hit me was I got to 27 years old and it was January 2010. And I think this is when it really got for real. I had tipped the scale at 405 pounds. And
wow.
My father at that time, he was a healthcare professional. He was a pharmacist. So he was just very concerned with my weight. I think one day he just looked at me and was like, man, like, like what's going on here? Like, I mean, I think I didn't even realize it. Again, just the ignorance of just being young and oblivious and just not really caring. But he was like, no, man, we got to go to the doctor to get you checked out. So I'll never forget this story. I mean, if anybody who knows me knows this story to the T, so I'm really glad that I can share this with you guys and everybody else. But, so he made an appointment with the doctor. He was like, we need to go get your blood work done. I need to see what's going on here. So got the blood work done. A few days later, went to the doctor's office to go get the results. And again, I'll never forget this story. Went to the doctor's office. My father and I are sitting there. The doctor walks out, has a folder in his hand with my results, looks at the folder, opens the folder, looks at my results, closes the folder, throws it on the counter, and he says, looks up right at my father and I and says, it doesn't matter what these results say. Your son will be dead by the time he's 40 if he doesn't change his ways anyways.
Whoa.
And that's it.
We found a company that was founded by a bariatric surgeon for his patients. He is just trying to make their lives easier. And so they have created a whole array of snacks and dinners and just all the foods you could possibly want that have protein in them and are delicious.
Yeah. And they're so freaking good that we took them on tour with us because we tried them on a live. So you guys can always go back and watch that. And we liked every single bar. So
we were shocked.
We don't want you guys to miss out. So go over to berrylife.com, use OSLP and get your discount.
While we were in Florida, we got to visit one of our favorite bariatric surgeons, Dr. Donald Fridley at Surgical Associates of Bayonet Point. And when we say that they are patient focused, they are patient freaking focused. They tailor make all their plans to the unique needs of each patient.
It's an in-body scanner.
We both got to use
We
it.
both got to use it, and you get to do it pre-op and post-op. So that way you can see all the differences and all the changes that happen. And he's also one of the surgeons that does his surgery with robotics. And we got to play with that
We
too.
did.
So we
It
were
was so cool.
We were so excited, and we want you to have such a special care that they give. So go over to sabpweightloss.com right now.
Or give their office a call at 727-819-9107.
That's right. So and tell them that the OSLP girls sent you, and they're going to take great care of you.
Yeah.
The room was like so silent you can hear a pin drop, like bing,
Oh.
you know. I never even knew my results, never knew my scores, nothing. He was like, I mean, it doesn't matter. He's like, what are you even doing here? He's like, you don't care. So, you know, you'll be dead anyway. So,
Wow.
yeah. And that first thing
Whoa.
I thought to myself was, man, 5-star bedside manner, doc.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Fuck.
know, but yeah, no, it was just really kind of like a shock. And then I think my father and him maybe talked for a few minutes, you know, just about, okay, like, is there anything we can do? And they kind of talked to the side a little bit, and then we just left. I mean, it was probably like the fastest visit I had in my life, maybe not even 10 minutes tops.
Wow.
And I remember driving home. I was driving. My father was in the passenger seat. Cold, cloudy day in January. I'll never forget it. About midway through, he's like, hey, I need you to pull the car over. I said, why? He's like, just pull over. I need to talk to you. I was like, okay. Pulled over to the side, and he was like, yeah, what's up? I asked him, I was like, yeah, Dad, what's going on? He was like, listen, you know, I'm running out of time here. Because he was battling his own health issues at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I'm running out of time right now. I need you to take this seriously. You know, you're 27 years old. You're my youngest son. He said flat out, I'm not going to be there to see you get married. I'm not going to be there to see you have kids. I'm not going to be here much longer. I'm not going to see any of my grandkids. I'm running out of time. But he was like, you're my youngest son. And he was like, I do not want to see my youngest son in this type of shape, especially with time running out. And at that time I thought, you know, I'm a father now. And I was like typical kids when their parents are talking, you're like, man, you're talking crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, no, like, he made me be quiet. He's like, listen to me. We are not leaving this car. We're not going back home until you promise me you're going to take care of this. You have to promise me. So I looked at him, and I've never seen him with that much intensity, that much fear, that much stress. Like, and that's really hard for a father to tell his son that you're running out of time. You're not even going to be here for his wedding, for his kids, for his, you know, for his life. And I was just kind of in shock, and I was like, okay, I promise. So I did promise him. I did drive home that day. And, you know, just like life, man, I mean, I tried and I failed. I would go to the local school, you know, at the college that I went to, I go to their track. I tried, failed. And then later on that March, what happened was my father had an issue with his liver where he would leak water and fluid, and it would build up all over his entire body. So eventually he would need a transplant. So the problem was that was like his first real procedure. It was right around the end of March that year in January 10. And I'll never forget it. I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, can I go see him? Because I took my father to the hospital that day. He's like, yeah. And I go to the back to see him. And, you know, he's still, you know, literally about to wake up from his sleep. And it's funny because he had the procedure done, not me. And I'm sitting there asking him, hey, are you okay? Do you need any water? Do you need anything? And he looks dead at me and he says, you know, what are you waiting for? You know, like, look at me. I'm in this bed right now. I told you I was running out of time a few months ago. Like, what are you waiting for? And it's so surreal looking back at it now. I'm like, man, it's like he just saw something through the guy on the outside. He just saw something. It was something inside of me, the guy that I am now, that he saw. And it's like, and I sound crazy, but it's so true. It's like he literally saw something in me, man. He was like, there's something that's holding you back. And I don't know what else I can do. Like, I'm literally in my bed, like pretty much my deathbed right now. We're running out of time. I'm running out of time. Like, you have to do something. So I really felt like, you know, my back was to the wall, and like, you know, death was like coming like right against me, like pressing against me. So I was like, man. So then I joined the local gym by my house. A couple of friends of mine were joining of the, you know, local gym by the house. And luckily I hit them up and I was like, hey man, can you mind if I join too? And they're like, yeah. And the timing was great. You know, separate from the story. They didn't even know about this stuff from my dad. I was like, yeah. So I was like, I'll join. And then I'll never forget it. They had a class called Team Weight Loss class at the gym. You have to sign up for it separately. And it was for people like me, people who just didn't work out, just didn't do anything except eat really bad and didn't have any exercise habits, severely overweight, people that want to get going. So I joined that class, and I'll never forget it. It was the first day of class. I walk up and the gym was upstairs, meaning that the entrance was on the lower level, but the weights and the class and the treadmill were on the higher level.
Yeah.
So I walked up 2 flights of stairs, sucking wind, and I'll never forget it. The trainer was like, "Okay, everybody's here in class. Okay, great. So before we begin, everybody needs to go on the scale one by one, and you have to announce your weight to the entire class."
Whoa.
And then, and I was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I know." And I was like, and I begged her, I was like, "Melissa, please." I was like, "Look, I'll do anything. Just don't make me do this, man. Don't make me do this." And she was like, "I promise you." She was like, when you get to the other side, she was like, "You're going to appreciate it a lot more." She was like, "I know it's going to hurt and it's going to suck right now, but I promise you, it's going to feel a lot better. So when it's over, when my journey is."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, that's great, but I still don't want to do this."
Yes, I know. My brother made me do that too at the gym. I was like, "Don't make me do it."
Yeah, but you have to face it.
Oh, I faced it and cried immediately. Yep.
Right. So everybody went up there. Then it was my turn to go up there. I was like, "I'm Raheel Siddiqui, and I weigh 405 pounds." And everybody looked at me. And then here you go, the whispers and the jib jab and just like the, feeling bad, right? The pity of, oh my God, and it's funny, man, for a guy who's just been through so much in his life of, being body shamed and being a victim of bullying and going through just everything. I think all of that, my father, it all just hit me at once, like it just all came full circle to me. Like, oh my God, like this is real life, man. Like this isn't a game. Like this is serious. And I have to do something, like, per what my father said, I have to finally do something from a guy that was told that, I was too fat for everything, from telling me when I was a kid at 9 years old, telling me that I remember I went to a friend's party and the aunt who was hosting the dinner, she took my plate from me and she was like, "You're too fat. You need to go back out and keep playing." I was 9 years old, man. I was 9 years old, I was a kid, and like going from that to, "Hey, do you want to take your shirt off?" Oh, he doesn't want to take his shirt off. I mean, he doesn't want to flash us. He doesn't want to show his chest, his cleavage, and I got all those jokes too. So it's like all of that just kind of building up. And then to my father getting ill, to me coming here full circle on the gym. I just think I've just been through a lot at this point in my life. So, and I feel like life was just telling me something, man. Like, life was telling me something, man. It's time, I think it's like in that moment I knew. So then I started class 3 days a week. The class was 3 days a week. So I went 3 days a week and I lost about like 5 pounds. I was like, okay, because we did weekly weigh-ins. And I was like, okay. And I just did the class. I didn't even go, and I was a member at the gym. I didn't go any other day. I just did the class. And I was like, you know what if I just go every single day to the gym? Let's just see. And just to walk on the treadmill, I'm 405 pounds. I can't. I'm not squatting 500.
No.
Right.
I'm not coming out and doing like fours, like center core workout. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, so let me just see if I can, walk on the treadmill and just get some activity, get some blood flow, get some movement for a guy who wasn't, I played high school football, but again, I was 27 at that time. We're going 10 years prior to that. But other than that, and I played pickup ball with my friends here and there, but no real consistent activity.
Right.
That's kind of what you need in a type of journey like this.
You
so
do.
I went every single day that one whole week from Sunday to Saturday, and I'll never forget it. I did the weigh-in the next day, and I actually ended up losing 20 pounds that second week.
Whoa.
And I think when they told me that, when my trainer told me that, I think that's when it all just kind of clicked. Like the bulb just hit, like, wow, you know what, man, I can do this. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, and I always tell people this too when they ask me, I'm like, listen, man, the hardest step is the first step. I'm like, if you can have the courage to take that first step, I promise you everything else, it's still going to be very hard, but it will be much easier than to actually have the courage to take that first step.
Yeah.
So then after that, man, I mean, the beast was just out. I mean, I was just addicted to it. And then I'll never forget it. A couple months went by. I was probably down about 40 or 45, maybe 50-ish pounds. So, cutting some good weight there.
Yeah.
But I did hit a plateau. I think mentally I was drained, physically I was drained. Because you got to remember, number one, we're human.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we forget that, it's life, man. We're human. We're not perfect. No matter what your journey is, no matter what successes and failures you have in life, man, you're human. Not everything is going to be perfect. So I was just having a really lull type, man, I'm just hitting the wall right now. Like no motivation. I'm tired. I just want to eat, like just exhausted. So I remember sitting in the sauna one day and this big dude comes in, just jacked out of his mind. I mean, he looked like The Rock, and like he kind of looked at me like, why is this guy looking at me? And I started cracking up, and I was like, hey man, can I talk to you? And he's like, yeah, sure. I was like, hey man, like if you don't mind me asking, I was like, hey man, how do I get to like your type of physique? And then he started laughing because I was like, dude, you're like really jacked, and I'm just kind of starting my transition. So I would like to get some tips like from a guy like you. So he was like, well, what are your goals right now? Where are you at? So the first thing that I said, I was like, well, man, I lost about, 40-ish some pounds and I have another 100 and some pounds to go. And he just cut me off. He's like, stop. He's like, right there, just stop. I was like, excuse me? He was like, that's the problem right there. He was like, look, don't tell me that you have these big insurmountable goals. He was like, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're not feeling great because you're setting these high expectations on yourself. And that's how it's so easy to be defeated. He was like, this is what I want you to do. He was like, what's your weight right now? And I think at that time I was probably like in my 370s, maybe something like that. So from 405 or whatever. He was like, your only goal, I don't care what it is. When you get up tomorrow morning and you come here, your only goal is to get to 369. That's your only goal. Right. And he was like, and after that, he's like, once you get to that goal, then get to 359 and then 340s and then 330s. And he was like, I promise you, if you can just lock in on that small goal, he's like, you're going to reach the mountaintop. You'll reach the big goal. And he was like, don't walk before you crawl. I think the reason why people fail on their journeys is because they tell themselves, I need to lose 100 pounds. And it's like, I got to do it. And then you're setting yourself up. You're working out every day. You're eating small bites. You're trying on clothes, like you're mentally putting all this excess pressure on yourself. And I keep telling everybody, man, just, crawl before you walk. A house is not built in one day. Rome is not built in one day, just brick by brick. And he told me that, and then that one piece of advice, I'm telling you girls, it just carried me all the way. Like every single day, I just kept thinking to myself, okay, you know what? This is great. So when I got to 369, I felt great. I mean, even those days where I didn't want to work out, I was like, well, no, I only have another 9 pounds to go to get to 359. I didn't set that expectation, that high pressure to get to like, that extra 100 plus pounds. So then fast forward to May 2011. So from May 2010 to May 2011, I did lose my first 150 pounds, which is phenomenal. Yeah. So I was rolling, I was feeling great. And, but like anything in life, you're going to have adversity, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have walls that you hit. So later on that July 11, I was rolling. My cousin was getting married in Connecticut, my father's brother's son, his nephew, and my father's health was really, starting to get a grasp of him, get a hold of him at this time. And I remember talking to the doctors here in Maryland. I was like, is he okay to travel? Is it going to be okay? And he's like, yeah, he'll be okay. He's like, just kind of monitor him. It's just a quick weekend getaway, Connecticut, about 6-7 hours away. He'll be fine. Just keep an eye on him. So we go to the wedding. Later on that night at the wedding, he ended up getting sick. And then the next day they were going to do the reception that night. And I'll never forget it. The next day was a reception. He was in the hotel all day. My family was out running errands. I was watching over him. So then that night I was like, hey, look, Dad, I was like, you're not really feeling well. I think as a family, we were like, should we go? But my father was a very prideful guy. He's like, no, man, like, and he was the type of guy that's like, I felt like, I think he just thought of himself like in that Superman phase where I don't want my family to see me like this, like, just kind of weak and be like, I don't need handouts. I don't need help. Like, so he was like forcing us like, no, you guys go attend, just go for an hour or two. Cause it's my brother's, son, my nephew, and then come back and then we'll just pack up and go. And I was like, okay, my brother and I, we're young. We'll drive. It's only like 6 hours, whatever. Him and I can talk Jets, Knicks, football, Jets, football, Knicks, basketball. We're from New York. I was like, whatever, we can kind of do this thing. But, unfortunately what happened was my father's body that night started giving out completely. And, he ended up actually, dying in my hands in the hotel that night.
Oh my God.
Wow.
My brother and my mom were there. Yeah, it was a very traumatic experience. We had to call 911. They had to try to resuscitate him, but, he ended up actually pretty much dying, in our hands that day. And it was just a very traumatic experience. And looking back at it now, I'm like, man, I think the one thing that I think about is at least I thank God all the time that he actually at least got to see me do it. He got to see the transformation, or at least see me try, right? He finally see me take control of my health. And then of course, just like anything in life, I always tell people life is going to throw walls at you, and it's up to you. You either run away from them or you run through them. So then we did his funeral services back in Maryland. Later on that week, I actually ended up blowing a herniated disc in my back, in my spine. So I had sciatica down my leg from my leg to my toes for about 8 years. So I actually fluctuated weight for a while there. I gained about a good 50, 55 pounds from that July 11 all the way up until 2020. So I got married in 2016. My son was born in November 2019. And it was January 2020, early. I'll never forget it. I went downstairs in my work garage to tie my shoe. I stood up. I started screaming in pain, like I saw somebody get shot. And everyone's running to me like, oh my God, oh my God. And a lady was like, hey, are you okay? I was like, I can't even walk. Like I can barely even stand. I remember calling my boss and I was like, hey, she was like, is everything okay? I was like, no. I was like, I'm in the garage. I can't walk. I was like, I got to find a way to get home. She's like, oh my God. Yeah. Do what you got to do. And I remember I literally had to recline my chair all the way back and drive home. And I literally came home. My wife was like, dude, like, what the hell? So she was like, you can't even stand. I was like, no, I can't. Called the doctor. And immediately he was like, dude, clear out my patient calendar, whatever it is, tell them I need to see you right away.
Yeah.
I saw him. So I had to kind of gut out the weekend. This was a Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, I was pretty much like bed rested, just kind of just icy hot, Bengay, whatever the hell, just try not to move.
Yeah.
Monday morning, I saw him and I looked right at him. He saw me hunched over and he's like, man, we got to go in like to take care of it. So, so I had 2 bulging discs now at this point. I was up 50 to 55 pounds. I didn't have that explosiveness in me because that injury was really holding me back.
It will.
But finally got that surgery done. And I'm telling you, it was the best decision of my life because finally, when I woke up, I felt like everything changed. Like I felt like that guy again, that started, like full health, no more sciatica, no more pain, no more struggles, no more just something holding me back. So then, he told me, and my wife, she's a real MVP because, we had our son at that time. So she's managing a newborn baby, but also trying to take care of me who just had back surgery. So I'm really limited at this point. So, he told me to just keep walking on and keep the blood flow. So I was like, okay. And then after 6 weeks, after my checkup, he was like, dude, just let it go. He was like, you're full clear, like just let it go. And I haven't looked back since. So every single day I wake up in the morning, 5:30, I hammer out 2 hours of cardio and weights and, core, my whole workout.
The whole workout, 2 hours.
Every single day. And I just, think of those moments in my life where I'm like, man, like I had so many times where I just wanted to quit, like I remember telling my wife after surgery, just crying my eyes out, like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore. But I remember her telling me, she was like, dude, you've come so far. She was like, you made a promise to your dad. People look up to you. You're a dad now. Like, you're our son, he needs his father. He needs his father at his best. And I think the best thing that she told me was, she was like, dude, like, because the thing is, I was still so driven and motivated. I was still working out every single day. I just didn't have like that explosiveness because my injury was holding me back.
Right.
You know what I mean? I couldn't really go full speed. Like I would work out a day or two, but then I'd be in so much pain, I'd skip a day or two.
Yep.
So why the weight was kind of fluctuating. And then like, and then the diet, I just didn't really care. So like, I was still motivated and I was still driven, but that injury and it just, chronic pain really takes a toll on you,
Yes,
mentally,
it
does.
physically, emotionally. So dealing with that for 8 years was just very, very tough. And it was very, very emotionally and physically and just everything just draining. And then I just remember my wife telling me the best thing. She's like, you know what, Raheel? She's like, you're never going to be the best version of you if you don't take care of this. Like if you don't train the way that you want to train, the way that you want to be, just that beast, like I know that you want to be. She's like, you're not going to be the best version. And she's like, I need you to be the best version of you for your marriage, for your son, for your friends, for your family, because that's just who you are. And then lo and behold, I mean, I just like shredded all that weight and then some. So currently, I'm down, 180 pounds and I got on Men's Health magazine twice.
That's crazy. How did that happen?
How did Men's Magazine come around?
Yeah.
Well, Men's Magazine, they came around because back in the gym, my story got out to them saying that, hey, there was a guy here, and Biggest Loser was really hot at that time in 2011, 2012.
Okay.
So the gym contacted them and they were like, hey, we got this guy here. He comes here every single day and, he lost a lot of weight, about 150 pounds. So why don't you come check him out? So they came, check me out, did my story. And then, so I did that. And then the following year they did like a belly all segment of me. So I was on there twice. And then NBC News,
Yeah.
they came, same thing that happened with them too. So that was part of that. Sorry. So NBC News was the biggest loser story. Men's Health got aware of that. And then recently this month on March 4th, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram or not, but I just did an interview with Fox 5 DC. It was World Obesity Day. And I went on to tell my story of losing 180 pounds and how I'm now an advocate, motivational speaker, and I'm an advocate for mental health, obesity, fitness, and wellness, and had about a 5-minute segment right here in Fox 5 DC. So, and now I'm booking engagements like all over. It's been kind of crazy. Like my story's been getting out and people are just interested and they really want to know, like, what keeps me so driven and so motivated. And I think I just tell everybody, just don't quit, man. Like, I feel like the easiest thing to do is quit. And I tell everybody, man, what I've been through in my life, it's like, I know that people use the cliche of going through hell. And I feel like everybody goes through hell in their life, or they go through some sort of suffering. They go through some sort of pain. They go through that struggle. They go through those moments where I just don't want to do it. I want to quit. I want to quit. I want to quit. And I tell people all the time, like, man, like, you don't understand. Like, it's not like I just went through hell and then all of a sudden there was nothing but green grass and roses. No, I was like, I went through hell and there was literally somebody standing there on the other side. You know what they told me? They're like, turn around and you got to go right through it again, right through that fire again.
Yeah.
And then somebody told me the same thing, and again and again and again. And I tell people all the time, like my favorite speaker, David Goggins, says, like, to grow, you must suffer. And I feel like, just going through those motions of being fat shamed, being body shamed. I was wearing a size 50 waist. I was a size 22 neck. My blood pressure was 220 over 140. Wow. I had to shop at Big and Tall. I was emotionally and very depressed. I was so depressed to the point during that first 27 years that I would be invited to dinners and I would do what I feel like a lot of people would do in my situation at that time. I would just go to like a fast food joint and just eat in the car and eat a lot. Because that way, when I would go to the dinner, I wouldn't eat in front of them, if that makes sense. Because the problem was, because I was so big and I was getting that morbidly obese, it was anytime you stick something in your mouth, here comes the jokes. You know what I mean? It could be the smallest thing, but the stigma of here's the fat, loud white guy. And anytime he sticks something in his mouth or anytime there's food in his face, well, we're going to get him. You know, it was like you're licking their chops. You know what I mean? And I feel like those are the type of moments, man, where I was like, oh my God, but then I think the fact of my father just trying so hard to get into my head and trying to make me understand the significance, the importance of how much, you need to value your health, because without our health, we're nothing. And I tell people all the time, don't look at everyone else's journeys. Don't look at everyone else's successes. And that doesn't even just include fitness. That includes life. So many people ask me, well, I see this girl wearing bikini at the beach, or I see this guy shredded. I'm like, listen, it's you against you. I was like, at the end of the day, whatever journeys that they're on, I was like, you don't know their struggles because they're not showing it. You're just Instagram or Facebook or social media. And you know what? Let's just say by any chance that, maybe they don't have any struggles, which is a lie. Everybody has some struggle in your life. But let's just say for argument's sake that they don't, you know what? Don't worry about them. Be happy for them. Out of them. That's their life. That's their success. That's their path. That's great. And same thing for that, for that group of girls who's doing their thing and going to Tulum and those dudes at the beach with the shredded abs. That's good for them. That's great. But I'm like, you know what, man? Like, you have to be able to lock in and focus and make a promise, not only just to anybody else, but to yourself, man. Like, you know what? Like, you have to be able to put yourself first. That first year in 2010 to 2011, I didn't go on vacations. I didn't hang out with my friends. My father told me, I will support you whenever you need, emotionally, financially, whatever it is. Like, just do what you got to do. I mean, I tell people, like, you have to want it more than you are afraid to lose it, if that makes sense. Like,
No,
you
it does.
you have to want it so bad. And like someone like me, and I feel like if you guys can see it through my voice and my heart and through my face, through the screen, I'm the type of guy, I just want it so bad. Like, I want to be that guy that tell everybody, you know what, man, you guys all once upon a time laughed at me and you guys didn't think I could do it. And I had so many people tell me, man, like, this guy's never going to do anything. They made me feel like a loser. They made me feel like that Rocky Balboa, like, but you know what? Like that Rocky Balboa, the beauty of a Rocky Balboa was he kept getting up.
Yeah. He never quit.
He kept getting up. And I want everyone to understand, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I swear I'm never going to be that guy that's going to go down. I fell down for 27 years, but when I finally had the courage to get up, I'm not going down anymore. And I feel like that's the message that I want to tell everybody is like, you know what, dude, you can do it, man. Like, I promise you can. I went from 405 pounds to 225 pounds. I mean, you know, literally just
Incredible.
having just that actual, you know, just having all that inside of me, you know, that, and I still have that fire that burns in me. And every morning when I get up, people ask me all the time, what motivates you? Right?
Yeah.
Why are you still so fired up and so driven? I'm like, you know what? I'm the type of guy that I might not have anything to prove, but I have everything to prove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
But you
what I
can
mean?
tell by talking to you that you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, you are a through and through fighter, and you're not going to give up, and you don't care what people say anymore. Like, you're just going to go like gung ho.
Yeah.
And it's true. If you want it bad enough, you'll make sure it happens. Like, you were talking about how not seeing friends or anything for that year. Like, I was actually doing school full time and doing work full time. And people were like, how are you going to college and working full time and being a mom and being a wife at the time? And it's like, you just do it when you fucking want to do it. That's the deal. You make the time because you're important, and you have to realize that you're important. It's a big deal.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I tell people there's 24 hours in a day. I don't want to hear about, I'm a dad. I have a wife. I mean, I got family. I got a job I got to go to. I have a career that I got to maintain. I mean, but there's 24 hours in a day. I tell people, don't come to me and tell me you don't have at least 1 hour to dedicate for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have 1 hour. I'm not saying you need to do 2 hours like me. I'm not saying that you need to, you know, hammer and nail 6-7 days a week, but just, you know, you have to find a way, exactly what you said. You have to find a way to make the time. I'm like, you know, everybody, the problem with society is, I think the scary part about it is now that I try to tell people is people wake up every day, and I think the ignorance of us as a society is they think that nothing is wrong with us. You know, everything is just okay. You know what I mean? And I think that was my ignorance when I was 27 at 405 pounds. I just thought, man, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me, right? Because I didn't feel anything at that time because I was so young still, right? But the problem is, what my father tried to explain, what I try to explain to everybody is the fact of not, you know, nothing is wrong with you, ... yet.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. And it's like, if you don't take care of yourself and you don't have that courage to go and grab your health and take care of your life, I'm telling you, it's going to be too late. And then it's going to be to a point where I was a pharmacy tech. My dad was a pharmacist. I was a pharmacy tech in college. I would literally see one lady come in. She was very obese, unfortunately. She would take 15 prescriptions once a month, every single day. I mean, she would literally 30-day supply. And she would come back every month, and that's all she would do. She would just pop pills because she was like in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. And she had like that defeated mentality, like, okay, well, this is just my life now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Become complacent.
And I feel like, right, very complacent. And I tell people, man, like, you know, no matter what hole, no matter how deep the hole is, you know, no matter how dark the tunnel is, man, you can find a way. Like, if you just find a way, like the light is at the end of the tunnel. You know, I think the biggest satisfaction for me going through everything that I've been through, like having my father pass away in my hands, you know, and like going through the motions of being bullied, of being body shamed, of being laughed at, of, you know, eating alone in the car at night, not even being able to go to a Macy's or go to a, you know, a department store and find clothes that fit me, you know. I mean, throughout everything, I tell everybody, you know what, I wouldn't change it for the world, because everything, all those experiences, everything that I would cry about at night, and I would be so sad about at night, and I would literally be like, why me? Why me? I'm like, you know what? It made me just the straight up monster that I am today, you know, from a physical fitness perspective, you know, and I feel like I'm just so much more mentally tougher. And I tell people, you know, so many people ask me like, well, you know, what do you do? Or, you know, do you feel like you want to go back to those bullies and tell them, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. And, you know, as a fighter and as a competitor, yeah, I mean, as a human, especially like, you know, I'm a New York City boy, right? I mean, we love like talking smack and, you know, telling everybody I told you so too. But I think, you know, more than anything is, you know, I want to be able to teach, especially younger generation, because I have a lot of younger generation people that follow me. I'm like, you know what, dude, forget them. You know, I'm like, use them, your past, your pain, your hurt, put that inside your heart and use it as fuel to your fire. But you don't need to go back. If they see you, and believe me, they see me now. Yeah. They know.
Oh yeah, they know.
What I mean? They know. You know what I mean? I showed you guys my pictures now. They see it and they know. And like, and I can promise you a lot of those guys will look at me and be like, man, I would trade places with that guy in a heartbeat.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat, you know? And I think that's the key to this, is the fact of like, you know what? Forget about that. And like, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, you know, I might not have anything to prove, but I still have everything left to prove. And I want people to understand, like, at the end of the day, as long as you're kind and you're a better person on the inside, and I was a great person on the inside. Was I perfect? No, nobody's perfect.
No.
But because I was able to take that pain, take the bullying, and still be nice and still be kind and still just take it all, you know, I think that's what made me the person that I am today. It's funny, I'm a really big superhero guy. And I don't know if you guys know about the whole like Captain America story, and I use his reference a lot because I just love it, because of the fact of he was skinny Steve Rogers from Brooklyn, and all he wanted to be was a soldier.
Yep.
And he went through the motions, went through the army drills, and the doctor was like, I got one student that I want to pick for my super soldier serum program. And Tommy Lee Jones was like, well, I want this guy. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. But the doctor's like, yeah, but he's a bully. He's like, I don't want a bully. He's like, I want somebody that's kind, that's willing to sacrifice, that's willing to be true to himself, physicality or not. And go figure, Tommy Lee Jones in the first Captain America throws a grenade on the floor. Everybody runs away, and who jumps on it? Captain America. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, God. And the doctor's like, wow. And then Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, he's still skinny though.
And that's why he can be a super soldier. It's totally fine.
Right. And then lo and behold, you come full circle. And then, you know, and then Thor's hammer, you can only have the hammer if you're an immortal. And in the end game, what happened? The hammer comes up and Captain America catches it. Because why? Because he always had a kind heart. You know, he was always a genuine person. So I feel like I try to model myself like that. I still want to be, as much as I could probably talk a lot of smack to a lot of my haters, and I can go out and be like, yeah, look, where are you guys at now? You know, I just don't want to set that example. I think if you want to be great at something, especially on your health journeys or your physical fitness journeys, still be a kind person, give back. If people are asking you for advice and people need help, give them that help. Because guess what? There's going to be one day in your life where you might need help from somebody, and you know what? Because you turn them away, they're not going to be there for you. The guy that I was 13 years ago, I needed a Raheel now. 13 years ago, there was no Instagram. There was no Snapchat. There wasn't a social media reach. It was kind of like, okay, the only person I can contact on social media was The Rock or Thor or Captain America. But those are like world famous guys. Like, they're not going to reach out to a regular guy. I feel like I want to be able to give, you know, like kind of what Spider-Man says, going to the superhero reference. Like, I want to look out for the little guy, because that was me.
Yeah.
You know, I know, like, and I know the journey and I know the struggle. And, you know, I tell people this all the time. So if you're like a mother that's dealing with postpartum that I talk to all the time, I'm like, you know what, man, you're beautiful. I'm like, you're freaking gorgeous. I'm like, who the hell cares if your friends are wearing tighter dresses and you're at the beach and you want to wear, I'm like, so what? I'm like, you're perfect the way that you are. I'm like, but if you want to get healthier and you want to trim down a little bit and you want to work on yourself, yeah, go for it, but do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. You know what I mean? Don't compare yourself to your friends in the swimsuits, and don't say, I want to get back to what I was because I want to look good and feel good. Yeah, that's great. Of course, we all want to look good and feel good, but you know what? Just don't do the comparisons. Like, you're perfect the way that you are. There's nothing wrong with you. And I think the biggest stigma that I had growing up was that there was something wrong with me. Because there's nothing wrong with me, man. I was just going through something in my life, and that's okay. If you're somebody who's overweight and you're struggling and you're depressed and you're sad and you're just kind of like, oh my God, like, you know, what's going on here? And then you have these people coming here and they're running their mouths talking about, oh my God, like, look at this girl, look at this guy. And they're judging you, and they're, you know, they're insulting you and they're laughing at you. And they make you feel like, you know, like a loser, you know, like I felt, and that's how that made me feel, like I was a freaking loser, man. Like I wasn't a loser. I was just somebody going through something in life. You know, and it's okay. So I feel like that's the type of influence that I want to have on everyone out there, you know, and I think that's the message that I really want to share with everybody out there is like, you know, no matter what, you know, you have your journey and it's okay. Like, it's a marathon. It's not a race. You know, you don't compare yourself to others. When you reach your goals, when your time comes, when you feel like you're confident, it'll come, you know, but don't race for it. Don't rush for it. Don't push for it. And most importantly, stop comparing yourself to everybody else's journeys, because everybody has their own journeys, man. Everyone's going to go through whatever they go through. And it's just you against you, just the person in the mirror. And I want everyone out there to know, man, you're perfect the way that you are. There's nothing wrong with you. I don't give a damn what your waist size is. I don't care what size clothes you're wearing. If you're wearing a size 16 dress or you're wearing a size 22 neck, you're perfect and you're fine. The only difference is you just got to work on yourself a little bit, and you have to be accountable and understand to yourself that, look, I gotta get better. So I gotta work on myself physically, work on myself mentally, spiritually, and it'll all fall into place. But just one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, and then just keep stacking those bricks. And then before you know it, man, the results will come. You know what I mean?
And they always do. I was going to touch base with the comparison thing because it is huge in our community of trying to compare each other's journeys, especially like if we're around the same like size or time frames.
Yeah.
And also with all the haters that we hear as well, like you've experienced that too. And it's like, couple of things here is one, there's always going to be haters. Let them just watch you succeed, which makes them more mad. So it's I don't know what it is. It fuels me
your fire.
It does when I'm like, because it's like an unspoken thing, like with the bullies, like you'll see them, they see you, and it's more of like a haha, and then we keep moving, and it feels good. But the comparison thing for me, it's like, you're right. You can't compare because one, you don't know what they're going through. Two, half the time when you're comparing yourself to someone, you're comparing them at a different time of the journey.
Yeah.
So like I'm at day one, but I'm trying to compare myself to someone that's like on like 2 years out. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. And you're seeing the end result and you're not seeing the grind and the struggles and what they've gone through every day to get to that X point. Yeah. And I think that's really pivotal. Like you have to really just fight yourself and then just don't be hard on yourself every day about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do what you have to do and move on to the next day. Because that's all you can do is just take it like day by day by day.
Yeah. It's very important.
100%. No, and I think you hit it on the head too, like don't be so hard on yourself. And also, you know what, celebrate yourself a little bit too. I think I was so hard on myself early on, but when I hit my first 100 pounds, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go celebrate. So I went out and I just did some shopping because I lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like, okay, there you go.
Like I'm not a size 50 waist anymore. I'm a size like 40 waist now. So I was like, I bought some new clothes and, I felt good about myself. So I tell people that all the time. It's okay. Don't let others, because that, like you said, to your guys' point, I think the downside of when you have success in your life is you're going to have more people that are going to want to tear it down than celebrate your success, and I think that's why, and like you said, like the haters, for example, like they, there's so many people out there, believe it or not, that's why I really believe in quality over quantity. Like I'm really blessed with a great circle of friends that I have. But to be honest with you, over time, I really took my big circle and I really condensed it because I told my wife, I was like, dude, you know what, man, this person really ain't a friend or this, even if you're a family member. I mean, like, I have relatives too that I have to chop out too, because I'm like, dude, you know what, man, like, I was like, you're just not a good person. I was like, I'm a father now. My son's 3 years old, man. I don't want my son being around people that I don't want to be around that I think is a bad influence for me and my family and him growing up. And, and I think that's the biggest message that we were talking about is like, you know what, don't let other people break you down. And until this day, I'll be honest with you, for as much love and as much support as I get, I'll still get some jabs here and there about, oh, well, you know what, like, whatever, what happened? Did something happen? Did he get sick or did he do something? Or, is he taking some pills? You know what I mean? Or whatever like that. It's like, no, I just got up and I went to war with myself every single day. And you know what? I don't have to prove myself to you or anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest focus right there is like, you can't let others dictate your journey. You can't let others dictate your failures and your successes. I'm like, it's always you against you. And I tell people, man, like, it's not going to be easy, and I feel like the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life was this journey. And the funny thing is, now that I am a motivational speaker, now that I am getting, obviously I've been blessed to book events and get on cameras and get on stages and talk to people and let them know. I'm like, if anything, I have to hold myself even more accountable because, because of where I am now, right? I can't just I want to go to Pizza Hut and get 2 large deep dishes when I'm done this podcast. You know what I mean? Like I could, and I'd try to burn it all, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like you got to work that much harder. Like, the more walls you break, the stiffer those walls get. So I just tell everybody, just try to be like locked in. And I think if you can really find a way to lock in and focus, and I think peer pressure is a big one too. I think when you're around a lot of friends and there are some friends that want to go out for dinners, they want to go out for drinks, like those calories, they add up. And if you're somebody out there and you're like, you know what, dude, like not tonight because I made so much progress, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make you less of a friend. First of all, they're not your real friends if they're going to get on you for not having dinner and drinks with them.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
if you're on a journey and you're on a path and you're on a mission, like the way I was when I started out, I had to tell my boys, I'm like, look, man, I can't come out to dinner tonight. And they're like, oh, but dude, you just been AOL, you're this, you're that. I'm like, yeah, because I'm on a mission. You know what I mean? Like, I just literally just see, I have a tunnel and I just see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's all that I see. I don't see anything else, because that's the focus that I have. And I tell people that, like, everybody's different, and the thing is that, like, to each their own, right? If you're somebody that feels like you can still have fun on the side and hit your goals, that's great. I mean, more power to you. That's great.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who feels like, man, you know what? I'm just on a mission right now and I'm so determined and I'm so obsessed and I'm so driven to the point where I'm going to get these goals. You know what? Don't let anybody stop you.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a friend or a family member or you're anybody out there, like, whatever it takes. I feel like that's what it does. You have to have that mindset, that mentality. And I think, I really, really appreciate the fact of having that support system.
Mhm.
And I think another thing is too, if there's one piece of advice I'd probably give my old self or people today who are on their journeys, just don't be afraid and don't bottle up your emotions. Like, ask for help. I think the problem with us is today, we're so afraid as a society of what people might think of us.
Oh,
right? It's
1,000%.
Yeah.
It's all
Right,
over the place. Yeah.
all over the place, right? If you're somebody who's, of course, is this example for, if you're somebody who's obese and you're like, I need to lose weight, ask for help, man. Go to a gym, call a trainer. If you have a friend who's a workout person, ask them for advice. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it might be hard, and there might be people out there who will be like, oh my God, like, you're asking for help, like, why? Or they might judge you, or they might criticize you, or they might say something. Dude, this journey is not perfect. Nobody's journey is. Your girl's journey is not perfect. Mine's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But I think the one thing that we can't ever, ever, ever let dominate us is fear.
Yeah.
The second that fear dominate you, man, you're never gonna win.
Well, and I think people need to realize that, like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable, if that makes sense, because a weight loss journey is very uncomfortable. You have to ask questions to people that you would have never asked for. You have to do things you've never done before, and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable all the fucking time.
Yep.
And as long as you have that focus and that light at the end of the tunnel, it'll be fine. It's where the fear comes in and everybody else's, like, opinions. You can't let them matter. They don't matter. And I used to be so scared to tell people no about going out and doing things. I thought I literally was the person thinking, they're not going to be my friend anymore. Like, I have to go. And then I started saying no. And there was a few, I'm not going to lie, there was a few that were upset, but then the other ones weren't. And so, you know who's still around? Me. The ones that weren't upset when I would say, hey, I can't, I'm not going to go do that. I would never say can't, because you can do anything. It's just, I would say, like, I don't want to, or that doesn't fit my, like, daily thing today. And I've learned it's okay to, like, you can just hang out at home. You don't have to give people's reasons anymore. Like, after COVID, just fucking say, I'm going to stay home today. Like, I don't have to give you 1,000 reasons why I don't want to. It's really none of your business. I'm just going to be polite
100%.
and say no and keep moving, because it's okay to take a day for yourself. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to work out every day if you want to, or if you want to do 3 days a week. I think as long as you're taking care of yourself, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's you. Yeah, it's you before, anybody else in your journey, man. I mean, you have to be able to learn how to put yourself first. And it's funny, the guy that I was 13 years ago, the guy that I am now, just to be able to talk about those pains that I've been through, right? Like eating fast food before secretly, wearing a size 50 waist, having a size 22 neck, being told I'm too fat to eat dinner at 9 years old. And, the aunt literally taking the plate from me. I remember going to a family wedding. I was 13 years old, Houston, Texas, July in the summertime. And I'll never forget this. It was really hot. And one of my cousins was like, hey, let's go out for ice cream, all of us. Cause we're all the family was together. Yeah. I remember I jump up for joy, going crazy. And one of my cousins, who was very ignorant, he was like, oh, ice cream is against your religion. You're too fat. You can't go out for ice cream.
What the fuck?
You gotta stay in. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really went
That's
through
what
the
they
ringer
said.
with this,
And
with the
then I
bulliness,
remember,
man.
yeah, and I remember I was 16 or 17 going to a Pizza Hut. I put this on my Instagram story. There were about 3 pizzas that came out. I was with 6 friends, one friend in particular. The waitress came and bought 3 large pizzas out. She was like, "Is there anything you need?" He was like, "Yeah, actually, I need something." She's like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, these 3 pizzas, they're for this guy." He was like, "But can you take the rest of our order now? Because he's going to eat all these pizzas himself." And then
Whoa.
he looked right at me and he was like, "Bro, I just have to ask you, like, why are you so fat?" You know?
Okay.
And I'm like, "All right." And I'm like, "Wow, really?" I'm like, "So you're supposed to be my friend, but this is how you're going to
Mhm.
act." And the one thing I learned over time is, you know what, dude? If you're somebody that has the balls to call somebody fat, or you're somebody who has the balls to make fun of somebody's physical appearance, or
Mhm.
how much money they make, or what car they drive, or what clothes they wear, you're just an insecure asshole.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
Pretty
you are
much.
somebody who's so insecure, and you know what, dude, you're hiding your own whatever the hell is messed up inside of you.
Mhm.
And you know what? Because you're so insecure, you have to go make fun of somebody else's insecurities.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's kind of like, wow, like really, like I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to have a good time, and this is what's going on here.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the shift started to change when I was like the fat, loud, friendly guy versus like, oh my God, like now here come the hammers, like here come the jokes now. Like what's going on here? Because
Yeah.
it was just easy, right? Because at some point you're hanging out in a room with a bunch of people and you look for topics to talk about, but guess what? There's a fat white guy. Let's just go make fun of him. Here's the target. I'm just an easy target.
It's
at this point,
easy.
you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's easy, right? It's very easy, especially when there's food. If there's food in a room and you put a fat white guy, loud guy in a room like me, forget about it. It was over. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it was just kind of like, I think those stories, those moments in my life, it's just, I just never forget them. Like all those stories that ever happened to me, I'm just kind of like, man, like that's what just puts that fuel in my fire of like, dude, you know what, man? Like, you know what? I was overweight and I was fat and I didn't have an answer for you then, but I have an answer for you now. You know what? I was fat and I was overweight, but I was just going through something in my life.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect you or anybody else. That's my personal issue. That's my problem. That's my hole that I'm stuck in. I got to find a way to dig out of it. But who are you to judge me and pick on me and make fun of me about that?
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
You
fought
know,
like
you
hell to
did-
get where you're at now. So
Right.
Yep.
So I tell everybody, you know, just, you know, one day at a time, man, you know, one day at a time. And if I can do it, I know anybody out there can do it for sure. You know, it just takes a lot of, you know, heart over hate and, you know, just have that discipline and have that strength and just block it all out. You know, close your eyes and just picture you and just there's a tunnel and then you just see a big light, shining light. And you
Yeah.
just got to find a way to get to that light. And I promise you, you'll get there, you know, and that's for anyone out there, man, whatever. And the thing is that like, and I'm tired of all the stigmas too. I hate it. Whether you're somebody who like gets a gastric surgery or you're somebody who uses like phentermine prescription or you're somebody who, has like skin removal surgery or you're somebody for women too who get a lot of this, right? Women who get Botox or they get a nose job or they get something. Dude, who cares? I mean, if that's what they want to do, if that's
Yeah.
what helps them in their fitness goals, their health goals, their personal goals, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's what helps them out. Why does that
Yeah.
affect you? It has nothing to do with you. You're not paying for their procedures. You know, that's not stressing you out. You don't live with them. You're not taking care of their kids, their spouses, their lives. So, you know, I'm just a really big advocate of, you know, just rising above it all, like the peer pressure, the hate, the shit talking, but you know, just everything, you know, people trying to hold you down. You know, I feel like going back to the Rocky segment, you know what, man, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you can find a way to get up. I'm the type of guy that I finally was able to get up and I'm not going down anymore. And I know if I can be this way, I know everybody out there can be this way too.
That's awesome. That's a great way to
End it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank
oh my
you
goodness,
so
man.
much for sharing your story and your struggles. And I hope that this really helps everybody, but especially guys, that there is.
Yeah, I do have one
Hope.
question before we let you go for the men, because
Yeah.
we wish we had more men in the community, but we
sure.
know it's scarce and we know that it's hard for you guys. Do you have any words of wisdom for the men in the community for going through a weight loss journey?
Yeah, I do. I think the biggest piece of advice is be yourself. And I'll be more specific. If you're a guy that likes wearing tight shirts, but guess what? Maybe your stomach is not the best or your chest isn't the best. Who cares? Wear it anyway. Be comfortable. don't worry about what anyone else thinks, because at the end of the day, you are who you are, and don't change for anyone. The problem was I actually liked wearing tighter clothes when I was younger, but obviously my stomach got bigger, my chest got bigger, and then here come the jokes, right? Hey, bro,
Right.
you do need a bra, or hey, bro, you need to wear bigger pants, or hey, bro, that looks nasty. So I was taking all of the noise and I was feeding into it. If you're a dude out there and you want to wear tighter clothes and you have other dudes making fun of you, dude, screw them. And you know what? If they're your boys, don't make them your boys anymore. Keep your circle tight. So for those, I think the two best pieces of advice to answer your question, be yourself, you know, wear what you want, act the way that you want, don't change for anybody. And the second thing is your circle. You know, if you're around people who you think are your friends, but they're bad influences on you, I don't give a shit how long you've known them. If they're bad influences on you, they're not your friends.
Yeah.
If somebody can look you in the eye at a Pizza Hut and tell you that these 3 pizzas are for you and why are you so fat, they're not your friend.
No.
That is not a friend.
No.
And I know there are dudes out there, because a lot of us have bros that we like to call our circle and stuff like that too. And if you have a bro that out there that all he does is pick on your weight and your insecurities, and he tells you to wear a looser shirt or looser pants, get rid of him.
Yeah.
And don't even think twice about it, because you know what? You're only going to succeed in life by having a clearer head and also making sure that you have a great support system. And I made sure that, like I said, I literally had a big support system early, and then I started to trim away. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I know if I'm talking to you, you're somebody that's a great support system. You're a great person, and you're not somebody that's going to break me down, and you're not somebody who's going to judge me or make fun of me and criticize me. I'm the type of guy, and I'll be dead honest with you guys, because I'm the most transparent person you'll probably ever meet. I would be the same guy at 27 that would make fun of those guys, those muscle guys with like cut off sleeves and tight jeans and V-neck shirts and buttoned up shirts to their chest. And then 13 years later, who's the guy that's doing it now?
That's
you
so
know
funny.
what I mean? Who's the guy that's doing it now? You know what I mean? And my wife was like, man, like, look at you, you know, like, look at the way you dress and look at your balance. And I was like, you know, but I earned it. And she was like, you did. You earned it. And I apologize. But you know what, man? Fuck it. I mean, dude, it's all good. You live and you learn. No one's perfect. Like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. I think you're more, and to the men, because you asked specifically for the men, be a man. Admit when you're wrong. I was wrong to judge those guys back then because I was just jealous of them. It's just that simple. I was overweight. I was out of shape. I didn't look like them. I didn't dress like them. They were getting all the girls, you know, and I wasn't getting any girls because let's just face it, they took care of themselves. They put in the work and I didn't. And I was judging them and I was criticizing them and I was being a hypocrite. And I told my wife this too. I was like, man, you know, she was like, no, you weren't a hypocrite. You were just young and you're admitting it that you were wrong. And it takes more of a man to admit that you were wrong versus a guy that was like, oh, okay, no, I mean, I didn't mean it like that. Or you're backtracking, right? Like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that. No, man, F it. I own it. 100% own it. If you're a dude, own it. If you're making fun of somebody, own it. If you're judging somebody, own it. But at the end of the day, if you're on your journey, that's the best advice I can give you. Just definitely keep a great circle that'll help you on your journey, not hurt you. It doesn't peer pressure you to go out for drinks, dinner, whatever, or make fun of you for your weight and anything else. And then second thing, don't change for anybody. You want to wear whatever clothes that makes you feel comfortable. Say what you want to say. Be you. Do not change for anybody. If you follow those two things, I promise you, you'll have success in your journey, no matter what.
I would agree.
Awesome.
Because like that's kind of how.
Yeah.
Because we've slowly like made our group.
Yeah.
It is smaller.
It is
but
smaller.
it's more supportive. They're quality of fucking people. And I've had to cut out family members, spouses.
Yes.
You know, they're toxic fucking people.
Yep.
And once they're out of your headspace and out of your like everyday thing, all of a sudden you have all this like freed up space in your brain to do things.
Yes.
And you're more positive and you're more focused and shit gets done.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like an infection, right? It's like when you get an infection, right? It's kind of like you're sick, and it's like, how do I get rid of this infection? You know, what antibiotics do I need? Well, those are your antibiotics, right? Exercise, cut out your circle, find a support system that will lift you up, and don't be afraid. Like I said, I have cousins, man, like relatives, like blood relatives that I had to drop. I had close friends that I thought were my friends. They weren't my friends because, again, of all the bullying that they put me through, I had to drop them too. No explanation. I'm like, man, screw you guys.
Yeah.
So I think that's, to your point, just don't let fear overcome it. You're going to have a lot of fear. You're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a lot of people doubting you. Let it all go, man. Just stick to the script. do what we were talking about right now. And I'm telling you, the hardest step to wrap up is the first step. You take that first step towards your journey, everything will be easier. Again, it's going to be really, really hard, but the hardest step, that's why the key to that, that's why I love that phrase, because the hardest step is the first step. So when you take that first step, everything else, will be a lot better. And the fact that I'm 180 pounds now, in the best shape of my life, went from a 22 neck to a 17, went from a 50 waist to a 34 waist. My blood pressure is like 110 over like 70. I just got all my blood work done last month.
Nice.
Everything was like all green, check marks. The doctor, the one thing that I love what she said, she's like, man, Raheel, she's like, I got to tell you, man, like, you're special, man. Like, you're different. And I actually gave her a hug and I started crying and I teared up and I was like, I'm glad you told me that, because 13 years ago, I was told I was going to be dead. And 13 years later, you're telling me I'm different and I'm special and I'm in the best shape of my life. And I just hope that I made my dad proud. And
you did. I think you did.
You did.
For sure.
I appreciate it. No, thank you guys. It means a lot. It means a lot. But thank you guys so much for everything. And I hope my story can help everybody out there in the Our Sleeve Life family. And definitely, man, like that award show, I'm interested, man. It's in my backyard in DC.
It is. I mean, and you're speaking our language with the Just Be You part. Like that's literally the name of the award show. Because
we cannot
that's
wait.
what we encourage every fucking day.
Yep.
Because we're tired of all the people bullying us, calling us names, being haters. And it's like, hey, man, I'm just trying to be me, the best me I can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on once again. And to everybody out there, we love you and we will see you next time.
Bye. I messed that up.